Hi friends, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ebony. I'm a furniture artist and I specialize in taking neglected pieces of furniture and turning them into something beautiful. So in today's video, I'll be working on a dining set. So just about everything except for one chair I got for free. So the table I got from a neighbor literally maybe a week ago, and the chairs I've just had them. I've collected them over time. So we were only short one chair, and we found that one at our local Goodwill for I want to say $5. But as we get into it, I'm going to start by cleaning the table with TSP and hot water. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this stripping gel. It's a citrus strip gel. I like it because it does have a very pleasant smell, and it's not toxic. You can use it indoors. It does not have to be a well ventilated area. And I've used this in the past, and in my experience, it works very well. So after I apply it all over, I just wrap the tabletop in plastic, and then I go in the house, take a shower, go to bed, and I'm good to go first thing in the morning. Okay, so as we move on to the stripping process, it's recommended to wear eye protection and wear gloves. So I'm just gonna take a spackle knife and gently scrape everything back. And then I just put it into a little trash bag because it gets really sticky as it hits the ground. And even if it hits the drop cloth, it just makes this really tedious mess. So yeah, just do that all the way across. And then I came back with mineral spirits to get up any remaining residue that I wasn't able to get off initially. Okay, so the next step was to continue by sanding the tabletop. I went in with my electric sander and an 80 grit sandpaper, working my way up to a 220 grit sandpaper, but clearly things aren't going according to my plan. So if you guys know what I could have done differently, please let me know down in the comments. I'm not really sure what went wrong, but I definitely have to reconsider my vision. So I'm gonna go ahead and just prime the entire table using my Zinsser Bin shellac based primer, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so as the primer is drying, we're gonna shift our attention to the chairs. So I'm gonna start by removing the cushions off of the end chairs. I'm also going to clean everything with the TSP and hot water. I'm gonna rinse everything back with just plain water. I'm going to also sand all of the chairs using my electric sander. And then I'm going to fill any of the cracks with wood filler. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a super fine sandpaper and just sand down any of that roller texture before we move on to the painting process. So I wanted to come on and just quickly explain what's actually happening here. Oftentimes when I make my videos, I only share what goes well. So this is more of a behind the scenes look of what really happened. If you can care less about what happened, you can fast forward a couple of minutes. But ultimately, I wanted to try and do a paint wash on the tabletop, and it didn't work. Okay, so I thought the paint wash would be perfect because I was going for a very farmhouse style table. And so I did a gray wash and it didn't work out, like I said, but I'll kind of just break everything down. So I started by painting the entire table white. The plan was to keep the base of the table white and to do the gray wash on the top of the table. So I'm spraying everything here, and then I come back and I sand everything down to make it nice and smooth. And then I came back and I taped off the base of the table so that way it's protected from any runs or drips that might happen during the paint wash process. So when I got to the paint wash, I mixed a half a cup of gray paint with 1 cup of water. And I used a chip brush, I applied it, and then I wiped it back quickly using paper towels. So I definitely would do some things differently if I were to ever try doing this again. One, the main thing is that I needed more patience. I think you should wait 24 hours in between each coat rather than 1 hour like I did. So that was definitely something I would do differently. I also probably wouldn't use the chip brush. I ended up using the fan brush maybe like the second or third coat, and it worked much better. There was definitely not any paint splatter as I flicked my wrist with the zebra fan brush. So those are a couple of things I would do differently. But here's a quick look of the results after just 1 coat. And like I said, I did 3 of these things, okay? So ultimately I just said forget it, and we're gonna move on to plan C. So there you have it. So plan C is to just paint the entire table white all over again. Now I will say I did also have to overcome some obstacles even in doing this. White is just very tricky. It's not very forgiving. I dealt with like bugs landing in my paint and just a lot of different things. But ultimately I ended up doing a few different coats. I had to kind of undo and redo several times, but ultimately it came together. So here I am now. I'm just priming all of the chairs, and then the next time you see me, I'll come back and paint them, and we'll just go from there. Okay, so here I am the next day, and I'm just painting all of the chairs. So I will say the bottom half of these chairs is very tricky. You have to get creative with how you're going to get all of those corners that could be difficult to reach, especially when using this paint gun, because I've said it before, but this paint gun in particular has to remain in a vertical position at all times. You cannot turn it sideways. So that makes it that much more tricky, but I got through it. I figured it out. I will say I did have to come back and use my Zinsser Bin shellac-based primer in the spray can and hit any of those areas where I experienced yellowing, bleed through. And it wasn't too bad. It was mostly on the legs and some of the poles. But after I sprayed them with the primer, I let them dry for about 30-45 minutes, came back and gave it another layer of another layer of paint, and we were good to go. Okay, so now I'm gonna seal everything up using water-based poly. I did a few coats, and like I always say, it's good to do this in the coolest time of the day. So I always choose to do it early morning, but you could also try doing this in the evening. But if it's too hot outside, you may experience a grittiness that comes from your poly drying too quickly. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and upholster these cushions. I bought 1 yard of fabric from Hobby Lobby for $18 on sale. And now, for my favorite part, it's time to stage and reveal the table. So if you're still here, thank you so much for watching till the end, and I truly hope you guys enjoy.